everybody, it's Gets 134 here.
And Average Joe Squad here, as always.
And welcome to another episode of Remember the Hyphen, the show where we look at comic books, movies, and everything in between. And we've got something a little special for you. So, we were leaving work the other day, and we just noticed this come out. Superman, Man of Tomorrow. The first film after the reboot of the DC animated movie series. So for those of you who don't know, they were doing a storyline for a while in these, instead of just being them all separate, like, stories. Which led up into Justice League Apocalypse War. Yeah.
Which I still haven't watched, because I've heard it's really, really brutal.
Yeah, that and I just haven't been into the Batman Bad Blood universe. It's not really anything I've
given a shit about.
Yeah, basically. But, this came out. It's supposed to be like a whole new start to their AU, and I think it was a pretty solid start. Just get out of the way. This is basically a kind of amalgamation of a couple of different Superman origin stories, particularly I think the Batman or the Superman story Man of Tomorrow, and also I think a little bit of Superman Secret Origins. But otherwise it's pretty fairly its own thing. I only say it takes from Man of Tomorrow and Secret Origin because it uses the Parasite, who is the main villain of that piece. But otherwise, I think it's very good, its own thing. Now, you said apparently it was a DC Universe original at first?
Or at least it says a DC Universe movie.
Okay.
So I assume, and just kind of like with how the animation looked and how it was kind of a new thing, it kind of looked like it was something that was probably on DC Universe first.
Yeah,
I might be wrong. If I am, please correct me.
But yeah, because we'll get out of the way, because I think this was it was
I had
pretty
no
solid.
idea this was even coming out.
Yeah, I know.
Like, we were leaving and you spotted it before I did, and I was like, "What the fuck? Okay, let's buy this."
Yeah, no, I was kind of blown away. It was out. So getting out of the way, let's talk about kind of the issue we had with it. Just like I think the only really issue
was it the animation.
Yeah, the animation was really
the animation
weird.
is really, really weird. Like if you've seen a DC animated movie like a Tim style one or any of the other animated ones, they all have a kind of certain feel to them.
Yeah.
This one, I mean, when we first started watching it, I think the remark to you I had was it looked like a Telltale game.
Yeah, it really did.
Which, I mean, I got used to it, but probably about 20 minutes into it, I was used to it. But at first, it was really jarring, just because it looks different. Than most of the other DC movies.
It also kind of looks like that Marvel Spider-Man cartoon they did, not the Ultimate Spider-Man, the
New Adventures of Spider-Man, the MTV one.
No, not the MTV one. Like Disney's Spider-Man.
Oh, just Marvel's Spider-Man.
Yeah, Marvel's Spider-Man.
The one that's on right now.
Yeah, it looked a little bit like that, particularly like when Lois and him were talking. I think what they were doing, because I want to say in order to make the action scenes more cost efficient, they did CG wire rendering and then they animated over it. Or at least that's what because it looked like 3D images with cell shading on over it. So it looked really weird in places, but not bad weird. It just
is different.
Yeah, it's just different.
Which, like I said, by the time we got halfway to the movie, I was used to it. It's just at the beginning, it was really, really weird.
Yeah. But otherwise, yeah, I think the action was really well choreographed. They definitely really want the action to look really, really good here.
Yeah, and it definitely does. I mean, I came hot off the trail of watching this.
Which coming soon.
Yeah, which I actually say the action in this looked better, in my opinion, than Superman vs. Elite.
To be fair with Superman vs. Elite, it's not really an action piece.
Yeah. But you're getting what I'm saying. The action looks better.
I do agree with you.
Regardless, the action looks better. But
I will agree.
Yeah, so other than that, like you were saying, it's really an amalgamation of a couple different versions of the origin story. I was actually surprised because I think the first half of the movie we don't really see him in costume at all. Which to me, I'm like, wow, we're getting a Superman show, like a Superman movie that's not really a Superman movie at first. Which I mean is kind of different because usually we hop into these and he's Superman right off the bat.
So if you've ever read the Man of Tomorrow storyline, basically, this is Superman. We don't really see a lot of him growing up as a kid. We do get a little bit where he's watching a movie with a friend where it's about like this alien, and it makes Clark afraid because he's had to keep his secret powers under wraps because him and the Kents are afraid that once they find out his secret, the government's going to come and they're either going to try and kill him or lock him up or experiment on him. And so it shows in that like Clark he's helping people in Metropolis in this. He doesn't have the Superman costume yet because Ma hasn't given him the costume. Which they go with the origin that Martha made the costume out of the blankets he was in when he came to Earth.
The classic.
Which is the classic.
Which I'm always a fan of.
Because I think sometimes they try to argue that the costume Clark has was actually his baby outfit in certain versions of the origin, because of the way the Kryptonian material is, it actually stretched to fit his body. Here I'm glad they go. I actually also love that they explain how they had to.
What they want, like 15
band
sauce
in order to cut up the cloth. I'm like, yeah, you probably had to. But for the most part, it takes place in Metropolis. Clark is an intern for the Daily Planet. He's not a reporter yet. He's an intern. Lois is, I guess she got on because like she got a grant from whatever university she studied journalism in. But basically, they after Lois had put Lex Luthor away for, I guess, embezzling money from the government to fund his rocket.
Yeah, because he got the president into office, which there was an audio recording of.
Yeah, well, yeah, Lois like tricked him into thinking she was gonna sleep with him, I guess. Which is also kind of interesting because we also see Mercy with him too, which she only shows up for like the first couple minutes and then we don't see her again. But it was kind of cool seeing Mercy. Because, fun fact, she was actually made for the animated series, but they brought her in because they liked her so much.
I know
that. Same with Livewire. Unfortunately, I don't think they're nearly as popular as, sadly, Harley Quinn was, but...
I think a lot of that is because Superman TAS doesn't seem to really get as much of the due as Batman.
Which is a shame because it's really good.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's to the point that I think I was the one that told you there's still no Blu-ray set for that yet, which I'm a little bit perplexed at.
No,
I would like to get all those.
But basically, it's a lot of this movie is about Superman and his decision
for who he's going to become.
Yeah,
know? Like he knows he wants to help people, but he doesn't know the right path. Like he's at point A and he wants to get to C and he knows he has to get to C, but he's still trying to figure out the point B.
And while this is all going on, an alien bounty hunter by the name of Lobo has come to Earth, hunting him because he wants to because there's a bounty on Superman's head because he's the last Kryptonian, which Superman doesn't know about yet because he hasn't gotten the Jedi holocron his dad gave him to work. That's not like an actual, like, it just looks like a Jedi holocron. But basically we have like the first villain for Superman to face, which is Lobo, and honestly, I really like this Lobo. He's very, very good. He's a very great Lobo. He's very much, he doesn't take things seriously, but he's also still like the best bounty hunter alive, the main man. He also gets to save Bastige, which sadly a lot of shows can't do because, they put him on like kids' cartoons and Lobo can't save Bastige because it's a little too close to Bastard. Which leads to them fighting, and unfortunately one of Lobo's weapons manages to fuse with the janitor working at Star Labs, who sadly becomes the villain known as the Parasite. And I have to say, this Parasite was interesting, because like he starts out looking kind of normal, just a little bit pale and like splotchy, but like the more he absorbs, the more he like turns into like this giant monster. They also don't, I think, explain how he becomes giant at the end there. I guess it may be because he absorbed the Martian Manhunter's genetics.
I
That
think it's just he's absorbed so much power.
yeah.
I think we're reading too much into it.
Yeah, fair. We also get the Martian Manhunter in this because he's the way for Superman to unlock the holocron because he reads Superman's memories as an infant and somehow figures out how to open the device. And basically, the Martian Manhunter is also in here, and he plays a integral role in Superman's journey because basically Jean has been hiding among humans for so long because he's afraid of what will happen when he reveals himself as the Martian Manhunter, because his race had been completely wiped out, or so he believes. Because apparently at the end, like Lobo tries to imply that Superman and the Martian Manhunter may not be the last of their races, which I think was just a subtle nod to like Miss Martian and Supergirl and Krypto the Superdog. But basically, it's Superman's journey of trying to figure out how he wants to do things, while also dealing with the Parasite and Lex Luthor, and more or less the cosmic side of the DC universe coming to Earth, more or less. You want to add anything? Your thoughts?
You basically summed up the whole movie pretty well.
Yeah. It was a very interesting movie. I really like the redesign for Lois, particularly. I actually like how they did her in this. That she wants to find the truth, but like at the same time, she kind of does it in ways that can be kind of underhanded. Like as she says, the only way to get the answer sometimes is to make power moves, more or less. But yeah, I really like that. I think you and I both like the way they modernized the story.
Yeah, like they obviously there's a lot of modern tech in it. I think Lois has an iPhone, which
Yeah.
I could tell with the color scheme.
Yeah.
There's a lot more like computer, and I mean near the end of the film, they're live streaming. You know,
Yeah.
so there's the mention obviously to, John's serving in Iraq. You know,
Yeah.
which kind of brings it into the modern day.
Yeah, which I was surprised they were able to get away with saying he served in Iraq. Usually they don't do that in DC. Usually it's Iraq or some other made up country that they use.
Warner Brothers might be relaxing them or something.
Well, to be fair, a lot of that goes back to the 80s where DC said like the Joker was the representative of fucking Iran.
Yeah, so
And they got in a lot of trouble over that.
I think a lot of it too is that it depends on how stuff ages.
Yeah, true. It's not like they're saying like, oh, the Ayatollah Khomeini, Superman killed the Ayatollah Khomeini. Like they applied a couple times during the 80s with Superman. I also really liked how they explained how the DC universe was blooming in this, where Batman is on the scene. Like we don't see him. Lois has pictures of him because I guess she's studying Batman because she figures there might be some connection between him and Superman.
Yeah,
Which is also why Superman has a cape, because Ma Kent saw pictures of Batman on like tabloids at the supermarket, and she's like, "I like the cape, so I'm gonna give my boy a cape." You got anything?
I think I remarked during the movie that the design for Parasite by the end of the movie, he really looks like a xenomorph.
He does.
They really play up the really alien looking, not human type look to it, which I think really works well. Just kind of showing like how much he's changed from how we first saw him at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting too. Like at the beginning of the movie, they play up Lobo being the main villain, but then by like halfway through, it's flipped.
Yeah. It's also kind of interesting how it doesn't really feel like it has like a big plot. It's more about little stories that like add up to Superman's whole like ideals at the end of the movie about like shaping him into the Man of Tomorrow. And like I also think this really was there's a lot of the politics that's going current American political issues going on at the moment. Particularly like Superman's feeling of being like different from and the alien the alien fear in the movie that kind of could be a nod to xenophobia. Particularly because like people are still afraid of Superman in this too, because like he's not the Superman we know. That's like I don't he's not wearing the big colorful costume, and he's not like I'm here. I'm not wishing to rule you or harm anyone. I'm just wanting to protect this world because it's my my home, because I no longer have one, sort of thing. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I can definitely see the trends of that throughout the movie. They weren't really heavy-handed with it, which I think played really well to the strengths of the movie, because it doesn't come across as feeling forced. It really comes across as just kind of feeling like an organic piece of how that world is.
Yeah. Especially, and I think it works particularly well because the Martian Manhunter's here, and I get the xenophobia thing with the aliens races, but like, it makes more sense for Jean because like he does look so different. Like when he first shows up, he's in his Martian look, not like the Martian humanoid look he has that he he looks creepy in this. He
definitely does.
At first, I almost didn't recognize him because it's such a different design than what I'm used to with his Martian look. But like, yeah. I also was happy that this wasn't nearly as dark and gory as some of the newer DC was. The worst we see is when Parasite lights the Martian Manhunter on fire, which later on we find out was actually just a ruse.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, I saw you on fire, man.
I think the lack of gore is probably because I think DC kind of got the message we're tired of everything being dark, gritty, the same bullshit every movie. It doesn't always have to be dark and gritty for the depressing edgelords.
I mean, to be fair, I feel bad for because like with Apocalypse Story, it was technically Justice League Dark, and like the whole thing with Justice League Dark is they deal with like demons and shit.
Yeah.
But like I because like if anyone should be allowed to be kind of dark, it should be Justice League Dark. But I get why that wasn't for everybody.
Yeah. But you're getting what I'm saying. It's just that anymore, it seems like they try to make everything like really dark and gritty, and it's like not everybody in the catalog needs to be in a dark and gritty movie.
Well, especially Superman, because like as we've stated multiple times, you can't make Superman Batman. And I think they definitely hit the mark on what you want to see out of a Superman film in this.
Yeah.
It's also nice to see the Kents not telling Superman to let a bus full of children drown.
Yeah.
I actually think this movie gets Jonathan's fear of what Superman should do because of the fact that it might be bad for him. They might lose their son. But like here, it's less that and more. John's like, you either have to keep your head down, and be a normal person and hide your gifts, or you use your gifts and accept the fact that, something bad might happen to you. You have to make that decision now, Clark, because you're not a little boy anymore. You're a man now. You have to make your own decisions. And I think here gets the Kents much better than Zack Snyder ever got.
Yeah, no, I can definitely agree. It really it gives me a lot of vibes out of the Reeves movies. How they kind of understood the Kents, and in addition, like it really just kind of, to me, it draws all the strength out of previous adaptations of the Kents.
Yeah.
And it really, while it plays on those strengths before that came before it also does its own thing.
Yeah.
But it uses what was before to build upon it and make it like, while giving it a strong foundation, it also does something new.
Yeah, because I actually, now that you mention that scene where they invite the Martian Manhunter in for tea, that reminded me exactly of the Justice League episode where Superman and John spend Christmas with the Kents. I never thought about that, but that probably was what they were referencing.
Yeah.
Without it being Christmas, mind you. But I also think this movie was... I do think that you have a good point, because like I think this does... They want to start over fresh, because like I think they did get away from what made DCAU movies so good, was that you don't necessarily have to do like an ongoing universe with it. Like you can
Yeah.
just
You
tell
can just tell different stories.
and like you like because with Superman versus the Elite, Superman versus the Elite, I argue doesn't even need to take place in like it's its own separate movie.
Yeah.
Um,
Like it's always nice to have stuff that's connected, but I kind of look at it as like they they weren't doing. They tried to do what the MCU was doing, but they didn't do it well because they were trying to make it that everything was interconnected. And as we all know, with MCU stuff, while they are interconnected, most of the time the stories can stand up by themselves.
Well, and it doesn't help that like when they were doing that, they were also taking it heavily from the New 52, which I'm like, but the New 52 has been dead for like 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah.
Like you like, and like there wasn't a lot of that I cared for. I mean, yeah, I liked a lot of the Batman stuff up until Tom King, but in my opinion, I think they needed to go back to the stuff that like worked, which I think this is definitely, like you said, a good return to form. What did you think of the voice actor for Superman and Lex in this?
I liked both of them. They fit the characters well. They fit this version of the characters.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I liked them more than the ones I'm used to from the Bruce Timm related stuff, but
Yeah.
I mean they did the job pretty well. I enjoyed them. I didn't feel like the performances were flat.
No, I definitely will agree with you. Whoever they got now for Superman, I think worked really well because he could be the like I'm Superman and I'm I've got my chest puffed out and I sound really
Really
hokey. But then you also have Clark who is meeker in a sense, and he's less Superman more or less. As I always feel with Clark is less Superman because Superman actually. Well, I shouldn't say is who he is, but like Superman is kind of a mask for him in that it allows him to be a little bit more open than he normally is.
Yeah.
Overall, I think this was a solid picture.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I would definitely give it an 8 out of 10. Only real complaint with it is I feel like it didn't have like as solid of a story. It was just kind of
the origin story with a fight.
Yeah, with a fight.
Into it.
Yeah.
Which I mean, fair. It's the first of them trying to do stuff new. But like I said, overall, I thought it was an enjoyable movie. I didn't feel like any parts of it were slow. I didn't feel any parts of it weren't as strong necessarily as the other bits within the movie.
Yeah.
So overall, just a solid picture, enjoyable. I'd recommend it.
Yeah. No.
Certainly, it's better than some of the stuff we've watched recently.
Yeah, very, very true. I think if you're curious to see what's in store for the DC animated stuff, I think this is definitely worth a pickup. I'd understand if you wanted to wait a little bit just because say maybe like the next couple films down the line, especially because coming up we're going to be doing a trailer react that we got from this for a movie coming up, and I actually think that one's going to be more solid than this just because it looks really good. That's all I'll say, because check in with our trailer. But overall, I think if you're a Superman guy, I think this is a pretty good movie to watch. If you're not really interested in seeing an origin film, I guess you could probably skip it, but all in all, a solid piece. So anyways, guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for this one. I apologize for us not having a really big video for this, but
we don't want to anymore. We don't want to give too much away because again, we want you guys to go see it.
Especially because with
we don't want to spoil it too much to the point where there's no point in watching the movie.
Especially because with these direct to DVD sort of things, what's the point of us telling you? Just because this is the only way you're going to be able to watch it unless this comes on Cartoon Network or some other.
Yeah, or unless you're going to stream it off HBO.
Yeah. But anyways, guys, I think that'll wrap it up. Join us next time when we talk about another Superman film. This one much older, and one that I've been excited for us to do because it's probably my favorite Superman story of all time. But anyway, guys, as always, I'm Zangetsu134.
And I'm Average Joe Squad.
And as always,
we ask you to remember the hyphen and take care.